Imagine this. You are standing in a room full of people. Everyone is watching you. Your heart is beating fast. Your hands feel cold. Your mind is spinning. And then, nothing. Your mind goes blank. Completely blank. At the worst possible moment. You have been there. I know you have. Maybe it was a big presentation at work. Maybe it was an argument with someone you love. Or it was a moment when everything depended on you and your body just froze. That feeling, that terrifying silence inside your head, that is not weakness. That is what happens when pressure finds a mind that was never trained to handle it. And here is the hard truth. The world is not going to slow down for you. Pressure is not going away. In fact, the bigger your dreams, the more pressure you will face every single day. So the question is not how to avoid pressure. The question is how to become the kind of person that pressure cannot break. This lesson is for English learners who want more than words. It is for your mind, your courage, your future. Today you will receive 10 techniques. Not theory, not philosophy. Real, proven tools used by Navy SEALs, champion athletes, Stoic emperors, and the most mentally powerful people who ever lived. 10 ways to stay sharp when everything around you is falling apart. By the end of this lesson, something will shift inside you. You will see pressure differently. You will see yourself differently. Because here is what the strongest minds in history already knew. You do not rise to the occasion. You fall to your training. That is what this lesson is about. Building your training. One technique at a time, starting right now. Technique number 1. Breathe before you react. Picture this scene. A CEO walks into a room. 50 investors are sitting around a long table. This is the biggest pitch of his life. Millions of dollars, years of work. Everything is on the line. He sits down, he opens his mouth to speak, and his mind starts to race. What does he do? No phone, no notes, no words. He breathes. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold. 12 seconds, that is all. And something remarkable happens. His heart slows down. His thoughts begin to clear. His voice becomes steady. He is ready. This is not a relaxation technique. This is science. When pressure hits a part of your brain called the amygdala, fires a signal: fight or flight. Your body floods with stress hormones. Your thinking becomes fast, shallow, and reactive. You stop being logical. You start being afraid. But slow, deep breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Think of it as the brake pedal of your brain. It tells your body, I am safe. I am in control. Think clearly. Navy SEALs call this box breathing. They use it before combat missions, before jumping out of planes, before entering rooms where people want to kill them. Not because they are weak, but because they know that calm is a weapon, and you can use it too, right now, anywhere. In a meeting, in an argument, in a moment of fear. Breathe in for 4. Hold. Out for 4. Hold. Train this every morning. Make it automatic so that when the pressure comes, your body already knows what to do. Think about the pilots who land planes in storms. Think about the surgeons who cut with steady hands while alarms sound around them. They were not born calm. They trained calm. Thousands of repetitions. Thousands of quiet mornings before the chaos. When the chaos came, their body already knew the answer. This is what you are building, not a relaxation habit, a weapon. Technique number 2. Name the fear. When you feel afraid, what do? Do you push the feeling away? Do you tell yourself, stop being scared, just be strong? Do you pretend the fear is not there? Most people do. And it never works. Here is what neuroscience tells us. When you run from a feeling, it gets bigger. When you suppress an emotion, it gains power. Your body knows something is wrong, and your brain keeps sending the alarm signal louder and louder. The pressure grows because you are fighting it instead of facing it. But when you stop, and you name what you feel, something changes immediately. Scientists call this affect labeling. When you say the words, I am scared, I feel overwhelmed, I am nervous right now, your amygdala activity drops. You are literally turning down the volume on your fear response just by giving it a name. Weak minds run from feelings. Strong minds look them in the eye and give them a name. So the next time pressure hits and fear rises inside you, do not fight it. Do not hide from it. Simply say it. In your head if you must, aloud if you can. I feel the pressure. I see the fear. And I am still here. That is not surrender. That is power. The strongest athletes in the world, Olympic champions, record breakers, people who perform under the most extreme conditions on Earth. They are all trained to label their feelings before they compete, not to remove the fear, but to stop the fear from removing them. David Goggins, one of the hardest men alive, talks about this. He does not pretend the pain is not there. He looks at it, he names it, and then he runs through it anyway. The naming is not the end of the process. It is the beginning. It is the moment fear stops driving and you take the wheel. Name it. Tame it. Move forward. Technique number 3. Slow down your voice. Picture the last time you watched someone lose control. Maybe it happened in a meeting room, or at home, or it was you yourself. Words coming out fast, volume rising, sentences getting shorter and sharper. The more pressure they felt, the faster they spoke. And the faster they spoke, the more out of control they became. One person's panic spreading like fire. Now think about the opposite. A surgeon in the middle of a complex operation. A pilot announcing turbulence to 300 passengers. A judge delivering a verdict in a packed courtroom. What do they all have in common? Their voices are slow, low, steady. Not because nothing is happening, everything is happening. But they have learned something most people never figure out. Your voice is a mirror of your mind. When you speak fast, your brain speeds up too. Thoughts race, clarity disappears, emotion takes over. But when you deliberately slow your voice down, something shifts. Your brain follows. Your nervous system follows. The people around you follow. Speaking 20% slower than you normally would is one of the fastest ways to feel in control again. Not because the situation has changed, but because you have changed how your brain is processing it. Slowing down is not about being boring. It is about being deliberate, measured, unshakable. In an argument, the person who speaks slowest usually wins. Not from volume, from certainty. And certainty, whether the room knows it or not, is deeply contagious. Start practicing today. In your next conversation, slow down just a little. Lower your pitch just slightly. Notice what happens inside you. Notice what happens in the other person. The calm transfers. The room changes. No need to yell to be heard. Be still enough that the room leans in. Technique number 4. The 10-second rule. Abraham Lincoln was one of the most pressured leaders in history. He led a nation through its bloodiest war. He received letters every day filled with rage, blame, and criticism. Letters that would make most people break. Letters that demanded a response. So Lincoln responded. He sat down, took a pen, and wrote back with full force. every word he felt, every emotion on the page. He called them hot letters, and then he put the letter in a drawer and never sent it. Lincoln understood something that most people learn too late. The moment of highest emotion is the worst possible moment to make a decision. When you are at the peak of anger, fear, or panic, the part of your brain that makes good choices is the part that goes offline first. The 10-second rule is built on the same idea. Before you react, before you speak, before you send that message or make that call, count to 10. Slowly, deliberately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not hesitation, not weakness. Mental discipline at the highest level. Here is why it works. When stress hits, cortisol floods your brain. Cortisol is the chemical of panic. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, judgment, and long-term thinking. It takes approximately 10 seconds for the initial cortisol wave to drop enough for your logical brain to come back online. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. The cost of making a clear decision. The fastest person in the room is not always the strongest. The person who waits the right 10 seconds and then acts with total clarity, that is the person who wins. Not just the argument. Not just the moment, but the long game. Training, not talent, is what decides. Technique number 5. Shrink the problem. Your brain is a storytelling machine, and under pressure, it tells the worst stories. A small mistake at work becomes the end of your career. One difficult conversation becomes the destruction of a relationship. A single bad day becomes proof that your entire life is falling apart. Your brain takes something real, something manageable, and it inflates it, stretches it, wraps it in fear until it feels enormous, until it feels impossible. Psychologists call this catastrophizing, and almost every human brain does it under stress. But here is what the calmest, most effective people in the world have learned to do. They shrink the problem back to its actual size. They ask 3 quiet questions. Will this matter in 5 years? In 5 months? In 5 days? Most of the time, the honest answer is no. No, and no. That meeting that went badly. That argument you had this morning. That embarrassing moment you cannot stop replaying in your mind. In 5 years, you will barely remember it. In 5 months, it will be a small story. In 5 days, something else will have taken its place. That approach is not about pretending problems do not exist. Real problems are real. Pain is real. Difficulty is real. Some things do matter in 5 years. And when they do, that clarity also helps. You stop wasting panic on the small things, and you put clear thinking toward the things that are genuinely serious. Panicking people make problems bigger than they are. Calm people see problems as they actually are. And when you see a problem clearly at its real size, you stop feeling crushed by it. You start seeing paths through it. Shrink it, see it clearly, then move. Technique number 6. Anchor to the present. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome. He commanded armies. He managed political enemies who wanted him dead. He watched a plague kill thousands of his people while wars raged at the borders. He faced crisis after crisis for decade after decade. And through all of it, he wrote. In his private journal, the book we now call Meditations, he returned again and again to one simple idea. Confine yourself to the present. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not the worst possible future your mind is inventing right now. The present, this moment, this breath, this step, this action, and only this action. When pressure hits, the human mind does something almost automatic. It flies into the future. It starts building disaster scenarios. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What if everything falls apart? And the further into the future your mind travels, the more helpless you feel. Because the future is uncontrollable. The future is uncertain. The future is where panic lives. But right now, in this moment, you can breathe. You can think. You can act. There is a simple technique to pull yourself back. Practitioners call it grounding. And it works like this. Look around you and find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically touch, 3 things you can hear right now, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. It sounds almost too simple, but the effect is immediate. This exercise forces your nervous system out of the imagined future and back into the body that is standing right here, right now, very much alive and capable. And the present is the only place where your next action is possible. Aurelius knew it 2,000 years ago. High performers know it today. The battle is always here, always now. Come back to it. What you practiced quietly is what you fall back on when it matters most. Technique number 7. Reframe the pressure. There is a moment in almost every great athlete's career. A moment when everything is on the line. The last shot. The final round. The deciding point. The whole season, maybe the whole career, coming down to one single moment. And in that moment, most people feel one thing: terror. But the greatest competitors in history felt something different. Not the absence of pressure. They felt it fully. Every nerve, every heartbeat, every weight of the moment pressed against them. But they did not call it terror. They called it privilege. Michael Jordan, the man, many consider the greatest basketball player who ever lived, spoke about pressure throughout his career. And his view was always the same. Pressure means you are in the game. Pressure means the moment is real. Pressure means what you are doing actually matters to someone. No pressure means no stakes. No stakes means nothing important is happening. A calm life with no pressure is a small life. A life where nothing you are doing is serious enough to test you. When was the last time you felt real pressure? That pressure was not a sign that something was wrong. That pressure was a sign that you were in a room that mattered, that you were attempting something worth attempting, that the outcome had weight. The shift is simple, but it changes everything. Stop saying, "This is happening to me." Start saying, "This is happening for me." The pressure is not your enemy. The pressure is the forge. And you are the metal. No fire, no steel. No pressure, no character. Look at every person you have ever admired. Every person who stood tall when others broke, who acted clearly when others panicked, who came through when everything was on the line. None of them got there in a comfortable room. Every single one was shaped in the fire. Reframe it. Welcome it. Use it. Every time you walk into a high-pressure moment and come out the other side, you are not just surviving. You are becoming someone who has been tested and stayed. That is a different kind of person. That is the person pressure cannot break. Technique number 8. Control the controllables. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no freedom, no property, no rights over his own body. Everything in his external world was decided by someone else, and yet he became one of the most influential thinkers in human history because he discovered something that no master, no system, no circumstance could ever take from him: the ability to choose where he placed his attention. He taught that everything in life falls into one of 2 categories: things inside your control and things outside your control. Your thoughts, your effort, your attitude, your choices, your response. Those are inside your control. The weather, other people's actions and opinions, the economy, what happened yesterday, the way others judge you. Those are outside your control. And here is the trap that most people live inside every day. They pour enormous energy into the things they cannot control. They rage at the traffic. They lose sleep over what someone thinks of them. They obsess over outcomes that were never in their hands. And all of that energy is wasted. Every single drop of it. It does not change the traffic. It does not change the opinion. It changes nothing except your own peace of mind. The next time pressure builds, take 30 seconds. Mentally divide everything in front of you into 2 columns. What is inside my control right now? What is not? Then make a clear decision. Pour everything you have into the first column. Release the second completely. Not in defeat, in wisdom. This is not passivity. This is precision. A flight gets delayed. You cannot control that. But you can control whether you find a new connection. Stay calm and use the extra hour wisely. A project falls apart. You cannot change what already happened, but you can decide what you do in the next 10 minutes. Ask yourself right now, what can I actually do? Then do that. Only that. Technique number 9. Build a pre-performance ritual. Watch Rafael Nadal before every single point he plays. He bounces on his feet. He fixes his hair behind both ears. He touches his nose. He pulls at his shirt. In exactly the same order. Every time, whether he is winning or losing, whether it is a practice match or a Grand Slam final with the entire world watching. The ritual never changes. People watching from the outside sometimes laugh. They call it obsessive. They call it superstition. They do not understand what they are seeing. What they are seeing is one of the most powerful psychological tools in high-performance sport. No magic. No ordinary habit. A direct conversation between the body and the brain built over thousands of repetitions that says one thing simply and clearly. It is time to perform. I have been here before. I am ready. Kobe Bryant had a warm-up routine he followed for 20 years. Not approximately the same routine, exactly the same. Same drills, same sequence, same mental checklist, day after day, season after season. Because Kobe understood that the ritual was not about the warm-up. The ritual was about the mind arriving at the right place before the moment demanded everything. This is neural conditioning. Repetition builds pathways. Pathways become automatic. Automatic becomes reliable. And reliable is exactly what you need when pressure is highest and your conscious mind is too loud to think straight. Nadal's routine and Kobe's warm-up are not yours to copy. You need your own. 3 simple steps that belong to you. A specific breath, a quiet phrase, a physical movement that your nervous system recognizes. Build it deliberately. Use it every time, and over time, your brain will learn. When this sequence starts, it is time. I am ready. The ritual does not remove the pressure. It converts it into focus. It signals to your body that you have been here before. And every time you have been here before, you were fine. Build yours today. Use it every time. Technique number 10. Train in discomfort deliberately. This is the hardest technique on this list, and it is the most important one. Everything covered in this lesson today, the breathing, the naming, the voice control, the reframing, the grounding, all of it requires one thing to actually function under real pressure. It requires that you have practiced it before the pressure arrived, not read about it, not thought about it, practiced it. In real conditions, in uncomfortable conditions, when you did not want to, when it was inconvenient, when you chose it anyway. Here is the principle that makes this necessary. Calm is not a personality trait. Calm is a skill. And like every skill, it cannot be summoned from nothing in the moment you need it most. It must already be inside you, built layer by layer through deliberate exposure to difficulty long before the crisis comes. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Rome understood this deeply. They practiced voluntary hardship, cold sleeping, hunger by choice, walking through difficulty when life offered comfort instead. Not out of enjoyment, out of preparation. They wanted to know what they were made of before the world decided to test them. When the world tested them, as it always does, they were already familiar with the feeling of pressure. It was not a stranger. It was a known thing. The Navy SEALs understand this. Hell Week is one of the most brutal training environments ever designed. Hell Week was not built to find the already strong. It is designed to find people who can stay mentally functional when the body is screaming and the situation is desperate, and the easiest thing in the world is to stop. To find people whose training runs deeper than their fear. Because fear is going to show up. The question is what you trained to do when it does. Michael Jordan understood this too. The reason Jordan was calm in the final seconds of close games was not that he was born with nerves of steel. It was 10,000 practice shots taken when no one was watching. When he was tired. When the gym was empty. When there was no crowd, no glory, no camera. Just the work. Just the repetition. And when the moment came, his body had already been there 10,000 times. Take a cold shower tomorrow morning. Not because it feels good, because it is uncomfortable, and you will do it anyway. Have the difficult conversation you have been avoiding for weeks. Do the hard thing first, every day, before you reward yourself with the easy things. Seek out situations that push you slightly past the edge of comfortable, regularly, deliberately, by choice. Every time you do, you are constructing something that no one can see, but that holds under pressure. A layer of quiet confidence, a deeper knowledge that hard things are survivable, because you have survived them before. You chose them, and you came through. The world is not becoming easier. You must become stronger. Choose the harder path, again and again. Train the mind the way champions train the body. Until difficulty is familiar. Until pressure is not a stranger. Until calm is not something you hope for, but something you have built. There is a concept in sports science called stress inoculation. Small doses of stress, controlled and deliberate, that prepare the nervous system for larger stress later. Athletes use it, soldiers use it, surgeons in training use it. The idea is straightforward. You cannot simulate real pressure perfectly. Close enough, though, that when the real thing arrives, your body does not treat it like a stranger. Every cold shower is a small dose of inoculation. Every difficult conversation you did not avoid is a dose. Every morning you chose the hard thing when the easy thing was right there is a deposit into an account that pays out when the real pressure comes. The account builds slowly, quietly, invisibly. And one day, under conditions that would have broken the earlier version of you, you notice that you are still thinking clearly, still standing, still moving forward. That is the person you are building right now. Not through one dramatic decision, but through 1,000 quiet ones. Not talent, not luck, only training. You have made it to the end, and I want you to know something. The fact that you are still here, still learning, still pushing towards something better, that already tells me who you are. You are not someone who runs from hard things. You are someone who runs toward them. So let us bring it all together. 10 techniques, 10 tools, 10 ways to become mentally untouchable. The first is to breathe before you react. 4 counts in, hold. 4 counts out, hold. Let your nervous system lead your mind back before your mouth moves. The second is to name the fear. Give it a name and take away its power. Weak minds flee from feelings. Strong minds face them. The third is to slow down your voice. 20% slower changes everything about how your brain processes the moment. The fourth is the 10-second rule. Count before you react. Let the cortisol clear. Let clarity return before you act. The fifth is to shrink the problem. Will this matter in 5 years? 5 months? 5 days? See it at its real size. The sixth is to anchor to the present. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to this moment, this breath, this one action. The seventh is to reframe the pressure. It is not happening to you, it is happening for you. Pressure is the forge. The eighth is to control the controllables. 2 columns. Your energy lives only in one of them, and that is the only one that matters. The ninth is to build your ritual. 3 steps every time until your brain knows exactly what they mean and exactly what to do. The 10th is to train in discomfort deliberately. Cold, hard, chosen. Build the armor before the battle arrives. These are not 10 ideas to think about. They are 10 disciplines to live inside. Because the person who masters these 10 things does not just perform better when things get hard. They become a different kind of person entirely, the kind that others look to when everything is falling apart, the kind that stays standing when everyone else sits down, the kind that people call strong and calm and unbreakable, not because nothing bothers them, but because they trained for this. That is who you are becoming. Right now, with every lesson, with every hard choice. With every morning you get up when you could stay down. You do not rise to the occasion, you fall to your training. So train well, train hard, train like your life depends on it. Because in ways that matter most, it does. Which of these 10 techniques will you try first? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know where you are starting. Keep listening every day. This lesson was built for English learners who want more than words, and I hope it gave you both. The mind is a muscle, and every lesson is one more rep. This is English Avenue. I will see you in the next lesson.